Happy day, students. In this part, we are going to discuss in detail about biogeochemical cycles. A biogeochemical cycle or a biochemical cycle refers to the natural cycle of the earth through which a chemical substance or matter moves through the biotic and abiotic components of the earth. These components always interact with each other and form a stable system in the biosphere. There are four main biogeochemical cycles. They are the water cycle, the nitrogen cycle, the carbon cycle, and the oxygen cycle. Now, let us discuss about these cycles in detail. Let us start with the water cycle, which refers to the continuous movement of water from the sky to the ground and then back again. The water cycle can be divided into different stages. They are evaporation, condensation, and rainfall, snowfall, or precipitation. Now let us discuss about what is evaporation. Water from the earth evaporates into water vapors and travels up to the atmosphere. Condensation: the water cools down and forms clouds up in the atmosphere, as we have discussed earlier in the formation of cloud. And rainfall, snowfall, or precipitation: it is where the water then falls back to the ground. That is, when your cloud becomes heavy enough in such a way that it cannot hold even a single more drop of water, it starts falling back to the ground, and this process is called precipitation. The water that falls on the earth and travels through different pathways before it finally falls back into the sea and ocean via rivers. Some of the water is also being utilized by the plants, animals, and human beings present on the earth. But the journey of water continues in the form of the water cycle. Now, let us discuss in detail about the nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen cycle refers to the passage of nitrogen in the atmosphere, where it transforms from simple elemental form to complex molecules and vice versa. And in this picture, you can see clearly that nitrogen from the atmosphere is being absorbed or fixed to the soil, and the process is called nitrogen fixation, and after which it is being utilized by various living organisms, and then it is being released back to the atmosphere in the form of nitrogen, which is in gaseous state. Now, let us discuss about the importance of nitrogen. It is present in abundance in 78% in the air, and it is an essential part of protein and amino acids, and therefore the main component of DNA and RNA, which means your nitrogen plays an important part in the formation of proteins and amino acids in the body, and hence they form a main component of DNA and RNA. It is a common element found in alkaloids and urea. Let us discuss in detail about different phases of nitrogen cycle. First, nitrogen fixation. The name itself clearly denotes that atmospheric nitrogen is going to be fixed to the soil, so that from there it can be absorbed by plants, and from which it can enter into the other level of organisms. Nitrogen generally exists in its inherent form, but in order to be accessed by most living organisms, it must be converted into the organic form. Though nitrogen is present in abundant amount in the atmosphere, the nitrogen cannot be absorbed or utilized by the living organisms in its gaseous state, and hence it has to be fixed to the soil in the organic form, only after which it can be absorbed by the plants and followed by the other organisms. This process of conversion of nitrogen into organic form is called nitrogen fixation. There are two types of nitrogen fixation. One is biological nitrogen fixation. The biological nitrogen fixation process takes place with the help of certain bacteria that are present in the soil. The roots of plants are sometimes they also live in association with the plants, and these microorganisms are generally called nitrogen fixing microorganism, which converts the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates and nitrites. For example, rhizobium, which is found in the nodules of leguminous plants, and cyanobacteria called anabina are nitrogen fixing bacteria. The second method of fixing nitrogen is physical nitrogen fixation. Natural nitrogen fixation. Another thing that allows nitrogen fixation is lightning. The temperature and pressure on the earth rise during the lightning, which results in the formation of nitrogen oxide. These oxides dissolve in water and form nitric acid, which fall on land along with rainfall. Second is industrial nitrogen fixation. Industrial process such as the creation of ammonia and nitrogen rich fertilizers also lead to nitrogen fixation, where we add nitrogen rich fertilizers to the soil so that it can be absorbed by the plants and utilized by plants as well as be transformed to the other level of organisms. Third step in nitrogen fixation or nitrogen cycle is nitrification, where the ammonia present in the soil is then converted into nitrates and nitrites by the bacteria, and this process is called nitrification. That is the process where the bacteria are going to convert the ammonia present in the soil into nitrates, and nitrites are called nitrification. And for example, Nitrobacter is a nitrifying bacteria. The fourth step in nitrogen cycle is assimilation. The various nitrogen compounds which are being absorbed by the plants are utilized by plants and animals. Plants form amino acids with these nitrates and nitrates. The amino acids are further used to make proteins in plant. This is the process of assimilation. Now coming to the fifth step of nitrogen cycle is ammonification. When the plants and animals die or excrete waste, the nitrogen present in the organic matter enters the soil. The decomposers present in the soil break down the nitrogen compounds into ammonia. This process is called ammonification. That is, when the dead plants and animals are falling on the soil, it undergoes decomposition, and through which the ammonia present in them are broken down into nitrogen compounds so that they can mix up with the soil easily. For example, Bacillus and Clostridium are ammonifying bacteria. The sixth step in nitrogen cycle is denitrification. In wet soil, it becomes difficult for microorganisms to breathe. A special type of bacteria called denitrifying bacteria converts the nitrate oxide present in the soil into oxygen and nitrogen, and the oxygen is utilized by the organism in the soil, whereas the nitrogen, that is the gaseous form of nitrogen, is set free, and this process is called denitrification, and as a result the gaseous form of nitrogen is given back into the environment. And the example for the bacteria that performs this denitrification process is Pseudomonas and Clostridium, which are called as denitrifying bacteria. So, in the next upcoming video, we will be discussing about the third biogeochemical cycle, that is the carbon cycle.